Putin holds talks with heads of state in Africa regarding security cooperation. Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke with the head of the junta in Mali, Assimi Goita, over the phone about security and economic cooperation, according to both nations. Putin had a comparable conversation with the head of the junta in neighboring Niger the day before. We discussed bilateral issues, particularly the security and economic areas, Goita said in X. We agreed to cooperate further in the fight against terrorism. According to the Kremlin, the two leaders spoke over the phone and decided to strengthen their relationship. The Sahel nation of Mali has grown closer to Russia as an African ally in recent years, thanks to the deployment of the Wagner Group mercenary force to quell jihadist insurgency rebels. Russia is attempting to improve its relationship with African nations by portraying itself as a welcoming nation that has no colonial history in the continent. Following his re-election earlier this month, Putin has been engaging in a series of diplomatic engagements with leaders from West and Central Africa, and this call seemed to be no exception. According to the Kremlin, Putin and Denis Sassou Nguesso, the leader of the Republic of the Congo, had a phone conversation in which they decided to strengthen political, economic, and humanitarian relations. According to Nigerian state television, Putin had a phone conversation with Abdourahmane Tiani, chairman of Niger's junta, and the two leaders addressed the necessity of strengthening their security cooperation. This call came after Niger, a country that had previously partnered with the West to counter Islamist insurgencies in the Sahel, decided to withdraw from its military agreement with Washington on March 17. According to Colonel Amadou Abdrahman, a spokesman for the ruling junta in Niger, the country has immediately annulled a military deal that permitted U.S. Department of Defense servicemen and civilian workers to be present on its territory. The choice was made after a delegation of American officials, headed by Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs Molly Fee, and including U.S. Africa Command Chief General Michael Langley, visited the region earlier this week. In an interview broadcast live on television in the West African country, Abdrahman said that the United States delegation had broken diplomatic convention by not informing Niger of the delegation's makeup, arrival date, or agenda items. In addition, he mentioned that the topics covered included the ongoing military transformation in Niger, the level of military cooperation between the two nations, and the alliances that Niger has chosen to combat extremists associated with Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. A senior U.S. official, who preferred to remain anonymous, spoke about frank discussions regarding the future of the CNSP, Niger's ruling military council, during a visit to Niamey. We are in touch with the CNSP and will provide further updates as warranted, according to the official. Following its July 2017 coup d'état, the Niger junta followed in the footsteps of its neighbors Burkina Faso and Mali by expelling French and other European forces and seeking Russian backing. Niger regrets the intention of the American delegation to deny the sovereign Nigerian people the right to choose their partners and types of partnerships capable of truly helping them fight against terrorism, said Abdrahman. Also, the government of Niger forcefully denounces the condescending attitude accompanied by the threat of retaliation from the head of the American delegation towards the Nigerian government and people, according to him. Approximately 1,100 American service members were stationed in Niger as of last year. The country is home to two U.S. military outposts, one of which being Air Installation 201, a drone installation that was constructed near Agadez in central Niger and cost over $100 million. Militants from Islamic State and the Sahel-based Al-Qaeda affiliate Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin have been targeted from the facility since 2018. Since the U.S. status and presence in Niger were allegedly imposed unilaterally on the African nation in 2012, Abdrahman argued that it was unlawful and breached constitutional and democratic standards. U.S. military forces were not obligated to respond to any request for assistance against insurgents, he added, and Niger had no idea how many American civilian and military personnel were on the country's premises or how much equipment was deployed. In light of all the above, the government of Niger revokes with immediate effect the agreement concerning the status of United States military personnel and civilian employees of the American Department of Defense on the territory of the Republic of Niger, said Abdrahman. It was just days before the junta of Niger terminated the military pact that U.S. officials had cautioned the junta's leaders about their ties to Russia and Iran. The ruling junta in Niger withdrew an agreement controlling the approximately 1,000 U.S. military personnel stationed there, according to the Pentagon's report. U.S. Officials had gone to Niger to voice worries about the country's possible ties to Russia and Iran. The Pentagon also stated that it was trying to get some answers regarding what comes next. A military agreement that had permitted Pentagon forces to operate on Niger's soil was withdrawn, with immediate effect, by Niger, according to the country. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh stated that prior to the junta's declaration, the United States government had direct and frank discussions in Niger and was still in communication with the country's ruling military council, the CNSP. The United States group had many issues to bring up during their visit. The course that Niger is taking disturbed us. So, these were honest and open discussions. Having them face to face allowed us to express our worries and listen to theirs, as Singh put it. U.S. officials expressed concern over Niger's potential relationships with Russia and Iran. The military junta took control of Niamey in July 2023 and has since severed ties with the European Union and France as well as the Economic Community of West African States. Similar to the juntas in Burkina Faso and Mali, it has also bolstered military connections with Russia. The country has been visited by high-ranking Russian defense officials, notably Yunis Bekyevkurov, the deputy defense minister of Russia, who has met with the leader of the junta. Ali Mohammed Lamine Zaina, prime minister of the reigning junta, visited Iran in January. The regime's official statement denied the U.S. delegation's claims that Niger would have signed a secret agreement on uranium with the Islamic Republic of Iran. U.S. concerns about Iran were not addressed by Singh. United States Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs Molly Fee, United States Assistant Secretary of Defense for International Security Affairs Celeste Wallander, and the senior U.S. commander for the area, Commander Michael Langley, were all part of the U.S. group that visited Niger on March 12 and 13. The United States Department of State announced that the meetings aimed to discuss Niger's return to a democratic path and the future of our security and development partnership. Following the coup, the United States military repositioned its Niger forces, transferring personnel from Niamey's Airbase 101 to Agadez's Airbase 201. Historically, the facility served as a focal point for U.S. counter-terrorism efforts in the area, particularly in relation to operations against Islamic State and Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslimin, two Sahelian al-Qaeda affiliates. Singh stated that the United States military had been conducting operations solely for force protection since the coup. When asked about the possibility of a resolution that would let the United States to maintain a military presence in Niger, Singh said, "We want to see our partnership continue, if there is a pathway forward." The junta in Niger followed in the footsteps of its neighbors Mali and Burkina Faso, which have also cut military connections with long-standing friends like France and are now seeking backing from Russia. Together, they have established a cooperation pact called the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, and chosen to withdraw from the 15-member West African Regional Organization. Earlier this month, the Sahel governments decided to form a united force to overcome security concerns throughout their territory. These states are now engaged in the fight against Islamist insurgencies. Is the West's influence waning in Africa? How do you envision Western economies without Africa? Please share your thoughts. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you would like it and subscribe to my channel so that you may be notified when the next video is posted.